Good evening and thank you for joining us. Our top story, the U.S. House Ethics Committee has voted to investigate whether Congressman Young violated official code of conduct.
The committee was conducting its own investigation of Congressman Young based on previous work when it received a referral from the Department of Justice. The subcommittee will examine Congressman Young's travel expenses and costs. Mike Anderson, a spokesman in Young's Washington office, said the congressman is cooperating with investigators and will continue to do so.
Debate got underway today on a proposed overhaul of Alaska's oil tax structure. The Senate was considering amendments to Senate Bill 21, which is aimed at encouraging more investment and increasing oil production. Critics say the proposal gives too much away to oil companies, with no promises the state will see anything in return. The Senate Finance Committee was looking at formation of a group similar to one in Alberta, British Columbia, that comes up with ways to make resources attractive to investors.
And in every case, the impetus for change has been politically motivated and has been a source of, I would say, stress. This board, sitting in a review status, has been able to come back and provide recommendations to their jurisdiction that go far deeper than fiscal regime recommendations, which is what the legislature is tasked with.
Tax reform is vital for our state's future. That was the message today at the Fairbanks Chamber of Commerce luncheon by the Alaska House Majority Leader. Anchorage Representative Lance Pruitt said, if we're not competitive, we're not going to have revenues or the jobs to make Alaska's economy grow. Pruitt said the legislature has 30 days to make choices that will give oil producers a reason to invest and explore. He also said lawmakers are becoming more supportive of a project to truck gas down from the North Slope.
We recognize that Fairbanks needs gas. On top of that, we recognize that the long-term solution, which would be the natural gas pipeline, needs a distribution network. You can't just run a pipe past Fairbanks and just expect that all of a sudden you're going to be using a certain amount of the gas that's provided on that. You have to build that network. And so people in down in the legislature recognize that.
Major construction at the University of Alaska Fairbanks campus will require the closure of a major roadway. UAF facility service officials say Tanana Loop will partially close April 1st from the west end of the Bunnell building to the east side of the Duckering building and will remain closed for 2 years. The closure is necessary for contractors as they prepare to complete a number of projects, including the Wood Center dining expansion and construction of the new engineering building, among other projects. A temporary road will be built later this year from Salcha Street to the South Bunnell lot to allow additional parking as the Tanana Loop closure expands. Facility Services says the campus will remain accessible.
For parking, we will still have the Taku parking lot off of Farmers Loop open, and we'll have pretty good shuttle service coming up from that lot into Wood Center. The Tanana parking lot, which was all tore up last summer, the good news is that won't be tore up, and that'll be open and available for parking. There'll be a shuttle that brings people from that location up to the Eielson complex.
Lots going on up there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, when we come back, a memorial service for a soldier at Fort Wainwright happened today.
And Senator Lisa Murkowski says federal help for rural areas must continue. Those stories are next. Stay with us.
This edition of the Fairbanks Evening News is brought to you by Nissan, innovation that excites. Spadard Builder Supply, Denali State Bank, your community bank, and by Napa Alaska Stores, Napa Know-How.
Welcome back to the Fairbanks Evening News. Continuing, today on Fort Wainwright, taps rang through a silent sky as a soldier's life was remembered.
Set, mark.
22-year-old specialist Corey Smathers was an infantryman with the 1st Battalion, 24th Infantry Regiment at Fort Wainwright. He entered the Army in March 2010 and arrived at Fort Wainwright in July 2010. He deployed with the Stryker Brigade in 2011 to Afghanistan. Earlier this month, Smathers was found dead by gunshot wound.
As soldiers, especially the ones who've deployed and come back, they've been through a lot, and they've done this before downrange when they've lost soldiers that were killed in combat. And so I think it brings up a lot of memories for them. I also think there is a component of just a sense of loss that it happened back here in the safety of being back in our own country where we're supposed to be.
The memorial was held to honor his life and those who shared it with him. In attendance were his parents, Amy and Jack Smathers, sister Caitlin, and wife Erica. Family and friends packed the Northern Lights Chapel in remembrance of a soldier whose life was, quote, taken too soon.
And it's really for the unit, it's for the soldiers, especially for the platoon and the company this soldier was in. And it's a way to remember that soldier, honor his service in the military. And we have invited family members, and they've come out, and they get to be a part of that as well. And I think that gives them some, at least some good, I don't know if go ahead and use closure, but some good memories, and to see how much their son meant to the Army, to the unit.
The chaplain, when asked about the emotions and feelings the soldiers and friends of Smathers felt, he simply had this to say.
A life is of infinite worth, and so when it's lost, how do we count and measure the effects it has on us? And the reality is you can't. So it's like Chaplain Ingram said, it's building resilience, and how do we move forward knowing and benefiting from the life that this soldier led.
Senator Lisa Murkowski told the Senate Energy and Natural Resource Committee today Congress must take steps to keep its commitments to rural communities. She said lawmakers must find ways to replace funding provided by the payment in lieu of taxes and the Secure Rural Schools programs. PILT provided compensation to local governments from the loss in tax revenue within their communities. Secure Rural Schools was a temporary program designed to help communities transition from timber sales decline. Murkowski said the federal government can't continue to pay local governments to not use federal lands within their boundaries.
The federal government's broke here. We can't continue to pay counties to not utilize the lands within their boundaries. We either need to utilize our federal lands to generate the revenue and the jobs for our rural communities, or we should divest the federal government of those lands and let the states or the counties, the boroughs manage them.
Native health issues were also on a full agenda at the 2013 Tanana Chiefs Conference Convention that was recently held at the Westmark Fairbanks Hotel. As part of this week's health report, News Center 11's Daryl Lewis talked to agency officials about a health fair that's picked up in popularity.
Thanks and good evening. Subsistence issues and the like were not all that took center stage during last week's TCC convention. Overall health was also a primary focus. Whether it be working out on the Wii or being given the guided tour by other means, TCC officials say there's a true message being given.
There are diseases that are even more prevalent among our native Alaskans and among our beneficiaries, like diabetes, alcohol, smoking. So those are things that are, and lifestyle components that are impacting people's health.
They say the fair's concept was in the making for years, and now that it's a true part of the annual event, it's also picked up in popularity.
We started doing health fairs last year during convention, and this year we've even expanded it more, and so really healthy living, healthy lifestyle is the main theme for this year's health fair. And so as you can see, a lot of our staff are wearing the red shirts that say, "Why wait? Start now. Healthy people across generations." Healthy people across generations is our health services mission statement, and the "Why wait? Start now" is really geared towards, you know what, you can always put it off and think about, okay, smoking, well, maybe I'll start my diet tomorrow, or maybe I'll stop smoking and getting healthier next month. But truly, it's why wait? Start now. There's a lot of things that people can implement easily in their life to make changes, and with that improve their health, because that's the ultimate goal.
The Health Report is brought to you by the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic, located in the Medical Dental Arts Building. Call 456-7768.
Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome back.
Hi, nice to see you. It's back to be here on the desk.
Yeah.
So they were moving and shaking.
Oh, yeah.
Is sports moving and shaking?
Oh, a lot. I mean, talking about moving and shaking, it's March Madness, tournament time, brackets flying everywhere. I don't know how good yours will be in a couple days, but we're previewing another local state tournament team as they're going to March Madness Alaska style. Plus, we're talking some of the all-conference selections today. We got that and a whole lot more coming up in sports.
Brought to you by the Law Office of Rita T. Alley. Peace of mind through professional legal services.
Hello, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here in the sports seat for you this evening. Hope your day has been going well. Now it's time for some Channel 11 sports. Tonight, we look at another team heading to the state tournament, the Aurora Conference champion Hutchinson Hawks girls basketball team. And one Hawk will be bringing a trophy of her own to the state tourney in Anchorage. Hutchinson senior guard Mimi Wood was named the 3A Player of the Year. Yesterday, the Alaska Association of Basketball Coaches picked Wood, now a two-time Conference Player of the Year, who led the Hawks to their third straight Aurora Conference title this season behind Wood 14 points, 8 rebounds, 3 steals, and 3 assists per game. Now, Mimi Wood and the rest of this Hutchinson squad are getting ready for their third trip to the state tournament. Along with Wood, you can't forget about the supporting cast who have stepped up later in the season. Ely Veazey, the sophomore point guard, is an outside threat, along with Taylor Hastings. Inside, you got Allison Yingling, Vanessa Hastings, and Ashley Stark, who have made strides in post offense and rebound. The team has been putting in work in practice this week, and head coach Jenny Benson is trying a more relaxed approach to this year's tourney team, as opposed to the hard-nosed tactic and teams mentally preparing this team for their state title run.
You know, last year and the year before, we really felt like we could win it all, and we were like, our mission is to win it all. And I said, you know, maybe that's the wrong approach. Maybe we just need to treat it like this is a game. Let's go win this game, and let's do it one game at a time.
We're not trying to think too hard about it. They're just another 3A team. It's just another game, so we're trying to stay focused, just work on the little things, and try to pull it out.
And here is a look at this year's best ballers. All conference honorees include Mimi Wood and Alex Derrifield of Valdez. She was named to the first team. Delta's Jess Reeder on the third team. For the boys, Monroe's Scooter Bynum and Tyler Wells were first, as we'll talk about the volleyball team later. David Stevovich is a second teamer for 3A basketball. And 4A, Lathrop freshman Ruthie Hebert was named to the second team. In 2A girls, Glen Allen's Arena Dogal, second team, and Maria De La Rosa of Tanana was the third team selection. In 2A boys, Glen Allen's Brett Permeter, first team, Tri-Valley's David White, second team, Keon Monroe of Tanana, third team, and in 1A boys, Joe Befelt was third team selection for Huslia. And the 1A and 2A teams have been in full throttle at the state tournament. Here are some of the scores from yesterday's action. And in 1A girls, Huslia lost their second game of the tournament, 18-63. The Clowalk Lady Chieftains on Monday. In 1A boys, the Minto Lakers lost to Stebbins, 76-53. And today against Bushwood Christian, they lost 55-42. For 2A girls, Tanana was eliminated by Matla Catla, 56-40. The Glen Allen girls beat Bristol Bay 55-22 on Monday, with Arena Dogal with 17 points for the Panthers, and have a late game against Craig today. In 2A boys, Glen Allen was eliminated by Unalakleet 57-51, and Sioux Valley fell to Craig 61-50. And it's never too early to look ahead to upcoming tournaments. The Nanac volleyball team has set the field for the Nanac Classic Volleyball Tournament this September. The two-day tournament has regional field with teams like Colorado Christian, a 6-seed NCAA tournament team out of the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, Fresno Pacific, who had a 15-1 record in the Pacific West and finished 28-4, and Humboldt State, a 3-26 team that finished 12th in the California Collegiate Athletic Association. This year, first-year coach Mallory Lariniego will be on the sidelines, guiding the Nanacs to improve from last year's Classic, where the Nooks went 2-1 in this 6-match two-day event. And the Nanac women's basketball team finished the season strong, winning 3 of their last 4 games, and will be hosting 3 teams in the North Star Invitational during the Thanksgiving holiday. The opponents are Dominican, representing the Pacific West Conference, Lise McCrae of the Conference of Carolinas, and Wayne State College out of the Northern Sun Intercollegiate Conference. Dominican was in the 2010 North Star Invitational, will be back after a 5-21 season. Lisa McCrae went 7-15 in conference for 10th place, and Wayne State will be the big dog, bringing in a 17-10 overall record, and played against last year's North Star participants in Upper Iowa and Winona State. And tomorrow we will look at the defending 3A champion Monroe boys team and the Lathrop's Lady Malamutes. The big man, Daryl Lewis, will be here because I will be in Anchorage for the state basketball tournament, bring you all the action for Sullivan Arena. And that is all for me tonight. And we'll catch you next time right here on Channel 11.
Hey, welcome back to Fairbanks Evening News. Mike Schultz with you for a look at the weather. Starting off with what else but another beautiful aurora photograph. This one sent in by Louis and Debbie Sangeral. And look at the colors on that, red and green. You don't see it very often, but Saturday night was a wonderful night to see the northern lights. And if you have a photograph to share, by all means, send it to Mike Schultz at KTVF11.com. Here's what's going on as far as the airport right now, 9 degrees after a high of 12. The low last night, 20 below, 50 below, or 50 above in 1981 for the record high, 44 below in 1930. And the sunrise and sunset, 12 hours and 12 minutes of daylight, a gain of 7 minutes from yesterday. Here's our satellite picture today. And again, once again, looks like most of the energy over southeast Alaska. Looking at some more clouds starting to drift down from the north, and these clouds will work their way in across the interior overnight. Might even see a few flakes of snow starting tomorrow. And as far as what's going on across the rest of the state, we're looking at cloudy skies, some rain showers still hanging around the Ketchikan area, snow showers up at Barrow, lots of sunshine elsewhere, including Fort Yukon, 9 degrees there. Lower 48 weather, well, once again, we're talking about more rain moving across the Pacific Northwest. There's a few clouds across the southwest. The interior sections, the central sections, looking pretty good. Some showers around the southern and southeastern sections of the country, all because of, again, more moisture moving across. Still some remaining snow across the northeast part. They're getting hammered pretty good. And another storm system moving across the west coast. Got to keep an eye on that. Now, as far as that storm system from the west coast, very windy, lots of rain and showers and heavy snowfall in the passes. All being driven once again by the jet stream moving across from the northwest to the east, all the way across the northern part of the country, storms down to the south. All right, back to Alaska for tomorrow. Light snow in Barrow, flurries for Nome, and Fort Yukon will also see a few flurries here and there. So here in the interior, we're looking at snow showers for Fairbanks and Healy, giving way to cloudy skies by afternoon. Over southeast Alaska, it looks like cloudy skies will become partly cloudy by afternoon at both Juneau and Ketchikan. Over the southwest part of the state, mostly sunny skies at Cold Bay and Kodiak, with cloudy skies expected in Bethel. And over the south central regions, we're looking at sunny skies across the region. Still some gusty winds in the Valdez area. Okay, time once again for our kids' weather. And this week we're talking with the kids from the Immaculate Conception School. And tonight, another young lady to show us a very nice drawing.
Hi, my name is Shelby, and I'm in Miss Ward's 4th grade class at ICS, and this is my weather picture. In my weather picture, it's a really bad windstorm, and it knocked down all the trees, and it was blowing the trees really hard, and it knocked down the tree, and we couldn't get out of our driveway.
And tomorrow night, we'll have another young lady here with a question about cold temperatures in Fairbanks. Here's your forecast for the remainder of the night. Looking at 13 below, increasing clouds with some snow flurries by morning. The overnight low, like I said, around 13 to 15 below, depending where you're at. 11 degrees for a high tomorrow. Snow showers in the early morning should give way to just mainly cloudy skies by afternoon. And the extended forecast looks very encouraging here. Look at the temperatures rising up to the low to mid-20s for the last 5 days. Also looking at overnight lows rising to 0 to 5 below, which is where they should be this time of year. Might see a few snow showers, maybe on Friday, and then by that weekend, it looks pretty good. And of course, last night I raved about the wonderful northern lights we should see last night. Well, guess what? They didn't show up.
Mother Nature.
I went out there at 10 o'clock.
Camera and everything. I was like, I'm going to get some tonight.
Yeah. I was out there all night long, and I said, come on.
So nothing forecasted for tonight, though.
Well, you won't be able to see it because we have cloud cover. Unfortunately.
Okay. What about this snow? Come on, Mike.
No, nothing heavy.
Nothing heavy.
No,
okay.
just very light.
So are we almost in the clear? Is it almost spring?
Well, you know, tomorrow is the official day for spring on the calendar, but not for Alaska. Alaska doesn't go by that calendar.
So, we have our own calendar here?
Yes, everywhere but interior Alaska.
Absolutely. Roughly when we get to 14 hours of daylight, that's when we get every year.
Joe, I'm telling you, you are in for a treat. Yes, 14 hours, and then it just keeps going and going.
22 hours by the middle of summer.
So,
got your sunglasses on.
So do people sleep?
With blackout shades.
All right, that'll wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. As always, we are glad you could join us.
Tonight on NBC Nightly News, the latest on the training accident that killed 7 U.S. Marines in Nevada. That's next with Brian Williams.
For all of our news, sports, and weather, go to webcenter11.com.
And that will do it from all of us here at the News Center. Have a good night, everyone. We'll see you back here again at 11.